Welcome, everybody. This is a special edition of our AI and customer success Fireside chat. Today we're diving into a topic that's stirring up a lot of conversations across the SaaS and B2B world. And customer success, is it broken? Is it just evolving? What's the role of AI and what can be expected moving forward? So it's amazing. We're lucky to have two incredible voices in the space of joining us. First, Johan, a customer success strategist who's helped companies scale success teams across many growth stages. And Brian, a customer experience and veteran who's been seeing evolution in customer success from supportive functions to revenue driving one, and now into an identity crisis in customer success. So let's dive right in. So we'll explore what's working, what's not, and what might be on the horizon, especially as AI technology enters the picture. So first, let me do a couple of questions to you two. Johan, let's start with you. So let's get right to it. So some say customer success is broken. From your experience, where is that sentiment coming from? Is it from misalignment? Is it measurement? Is it something deeper? What would you say this is coming from?
No, that's an interesting question. And well, first of all, thank you, Manny, for having me here and for the kind introduction. But yeah, you're right. It's it's a conversation that has come up a lot lately. In my view, the perception that CS is broken doesn't come from a bad intentions of bad people. It comes from a broken systems. What we're seeing right now in most CS teams is that they were built to react. This is what I've seen. They sell tickets, they chase renewals, they play defense all the time. But to your point, I think that SaaS, has evolved and is continually evolving. And today's customers, they expect value early, ongoing, and proactively. And most CS organizations they just weren't designed to do that. And the real issue is that CS, as I said, still operates in isolation, right? Without what I call shared systems, signals, or cross-functional accountability to drive consistent value. And that leads to burnout, inconsistent experiences, and a lot of effort that has really unclear impact. And when the teams that are closest to the customer can deliver on that value, then the department is seen as broken, right? I think that, one of the biggest opportunities that I see right now in many, many customer success organizations is moving beyond what I call activity-based metrics and really focusing on outcome-based systems, right? Most customer journeys that I see are really internal checklists. They don't really have a reflection of what the customer actually needs to succeed. So the problem is deeper, it's systematic, but it's fixable.
Yeah, I can pick up on that, and thank you as well, Manrique. I think what you're hitting on, Johan, is the definition of what customer success is varies organization to organization as well. And so when we're talking about it being broken, if you compare it to other functions, sales, marketing, product, those are typically way more defined when you move company to company. But customer success is not. It's what responsibilities does the CSM have in one company might be different from another. Are you, as you're talking about chasing tickets, are you responsible for renewals? Are you responsible for expansion selling? And various companies have different experiences with that. And so when there isn't consistency, it creates this opportunity for things to feel like they're broken. And so I agree with you that from a systematic perspective, there's an opportunity to say, you know what, customer success is here to be proactive with providing value to customers. And through that process, there should be a discussion about the commercial aspects of the relationship, meaning the renewals and the expansion. Not necessarily that CSMs need to be responsible for hitting a quota, but that commercial aspect of renewal and expansion does need to be within the parameters of what a CSM is responsible for. And so I think if we, across the entire spectrum of B2B SaaS, can do a better job defining what CS and CSMs are supposed to do, it would leave less room for it to feel like it's broken because there isn't consistency across companies.
So maybe one question. I've been talking to many people in the customer success space as an automation and AI expert. Basically, we've been researching and exploring to that part. One thing we keep getting is there are quite a few things, but one specific thing is teams are overwhelmed. The other thing is we can't trust our health scores. So what can you tell either of you about this exactly?
If you don't mind, I'll hop in on this one. The health scores is an interesting one. I remember talking with a vendor of ours. I mean, I was the customer, and I looked at the vendor's health score mechanism of us. There was 30 different parameters in there, and they were all over the place, red, yellow, green. And I looked at that and I was like, there's one question that you could ask me right now to tell you if I am in red, yellow, green, and that is, are you seeing quantifiable value in this relationship? So I think the simplification is really where it's at. So the overworkedness, the burnout, the confusion around health scores is because we tend to go very broad with how we're looking at customer relationships, and we need to simplify down. Johan mentioned a few minutes ago about, are customers seeing the outcomes that they're looking for? Are they seeing the value? I use a framework in my work, which is an OVE framework: outcomes, value, and expectations. Pretty simple and straightforward. What is the outcome your customer is looking to achieve? How are they measuring the value? And are we meeting their expectations? And if you can ask those questions both in one-on-one settings and at scale, you can do this in surveys and in-app messaging and things like that. Those answers that come back will guide you much more effectively than a really big health score, or trying to make sure that, as Johan mentioned as well, that you hit your monthly check-in call. Did you send this email? Did you do this? Did you do that? Those things are more activity-based, but all we're trying to get to is do your customers know the outcomes they're trying to achieve? Do we know how they're measuring value? Is that realistic? And are we meeting their expectations? Simplify, and it will reduce that burnout and simplify the health scoring mechanisms as well.
Yeah, I do love, you're spot on, Brian. I do love what you're saying about, health scores, understanding whether or not we're meeting the customer expectations, that they're getting value, do we understand their goals and objectives. I mean, look, health scores, are they helpful? Yes, right? It gives you an idea where the customer is, but I have had a lot of companies tell me, and customer success leaders tell me, it's like, well, this customer churn, and they don't understand, how do they go? They might be green because some of the health metrics that they're measuring, right? It really based on, like I said, activity driven. Are they using certain features? But the question is, are those features aligned with the customer objectives and the outcomes that they want to get? And if they're not, this is what's going to happen. So to Brian's point, you got to go beyond these health metrics and really have, and we can jump into this later, but really have what I call adoption checkpoints along the customer journey. And those adoption checkpoints, are they aligned with not only the customer expectations, but they're also their goals and objectives and the outcomes that they want to achieve? And if we do have that, then you're going to be able to ensure that not only you retain the customer, but also unlock some, expansion opportunities along that customer journey.
Oh, very interesting. So if you could say, I mean, there are tons of systems in customer success today, without saying any names or anything like that. What's missing? Why are people consistently saying that they have great systems, that they are overcomplicated in many ways, but that they are not getting out of it what they really are looking for? So what would you say on those spaces?
Johan, you want to hop in?
Sure. So, I mean, you're talking about customers or SaaS organizations that I feel that they do have the system built, right? So look, it's a great question. I have seen both ends of the spectrum, right? I have seen the teams that scale sustainably, and they don't rely on heroics. To your point, they do build systems that scale value, but the teams that are stuck in firefighting mode, they're usually running on hustle, no rhythm. Everything is reactive. Playbooks, they change quarterly. And as Brian mentioned, people are burned out trying to compensate for lack of systems. So, when I work with companies, I always say scaling isn't about just asking for more people or more systems. It's about building a structure that lets the CS, the customer success manager, focus on what actually drives retention and growth without burning out. In contrast, what really separates, the high performance or companies that are doing really, really well is structure. And yes, talent matters, culture matters, right? But they have discovered what success looks like. They have identified the success leading indicators across segments aligned with customer goals and objectives. Meaning, what I'm trying to say is that the systems do work, but you have to go beyond those systems, right? The framework that I use is what I call building milestone-based adoption journeys, so that every customer is guided toward value based on real patterns. And then you need to monitor those progress, and this is where the system comes along and flags when the customer stalls or even triggers the right engagement where they're not seeing the value, right? Whether it's automated, emails, AI personalized engagement, or human follow-up. And to deliver that personalized communication, it needs to align with individual customer behavior, right? Whether you've done the segmentation through segment or use cases, but then customer success doesn't, just become a proactive, but it becomes relevant to the customer. So, when it comes to systems, yes, you can have the best systems in your mind that you've built, but the real key here is going back to what Brian said earlier, right? Do you understand what success looks like to the customer, and are we meeting their objectives and outcomes?
Yeah, and I can build on this. I think you were talking as well about CSPs, customer success platforms. So the experience that I've had with those is a lot of times there's a lot of shelfware in there, meaning like there's a broad range of things that a product can do, yet we don't use all of those. And I think the problem that I see with that is that they're inflexible from the standpoint of follow this playbook, follow this structure, follow the systems. Even what you're talking about, John, I think there's a piece in there to what we need right now, Manrique, is flexibility. So if I'm a CSM and I log in, and this is where tools are headed, which I'm really excited about, is more agentic tools, more narrow and deep focus tools on, if I log in and start my day as a CSM, I don't necessarily need to follow the playbook of, oh shoot, I haven't contacted all of my companies on my monthly check-in. Instead, I need to talk to this customer today because they are showing signals that they are either at risk or, good news, they're ready to expand. And it doesn't need to be the same playbook for every single customer all the time throughout the year. It really is, what is my playbook for the day or the week? Who do I really need to contact? So that flexibility is the direction I see a lot of these tools headed, and I'm very excited for it, because if I'm a CSM and I have to handle 100 customers, in the old way, 90 of those customers are getting ignored because I don't have the time to get to them. But in the new way, it's like I can probably touch a lot of these 100 throughout the quarter because I'm doing it very tactically. I'm doing it very not reactively or not following simple a static playbook, but this is the customer to talk to today, and here's why. So that's the direction I'm excited to see, is more of a flexible model on how CSMs want to engage with customers.
Absolutely.
Brian, that's a great.
Yeah, so go ahead.
I think that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think that we started the conversation talking about this internal checklist, and Brian, brought it up again. I think this is an important point, and I believe we should have not spent a lot of time on it, but really talk about it, just because this is, the evolution that we're seeing, and to Brian's point, I'm really excited about the future of CS, and that's exactly, as Brian mentioned, is that CSMs are being measured by an internal activity checklist. And that is the problem. And to Brian's point, there's no flexibility. Instead of saying, okay, to what you said, here are the signals that I'm seeing, and here's what I need to do, right? And you mentioned AI, and AI is something that I'm really, really excited about. I worked with AI for now over a year, right? And AI doesn't set the strategy. AI to me is an enhancer, it's a multiplier. And what AI can do for you in these instances, talking about signals, is that AI can detect those signals, proactively engage with the customer to ensure that the customer is getting the communication that they need at the right time, the right moment, right? Basically tailored to their individual needs, and also provide customer success or the CSM with the context that they need throughout that engagement, right? And this is where I see the evolution of CS moving forward, getting at this, checklist activity-driven kind of measurement, and also use AI to personalize. I call it hyper-personalize the engagement and communication that you have with your customers, and really become proactive engagement, detecting signals, and at the same time, creating this consistent experience across the entire, customer journey with all your customers.
That's amazing. So I usually say that we're in the age of hyper personalization. That's exactly where we're at. So we come from standardization, and then we're going on to hyper personalization. What's really fascinating about this is how we're talking about the same things. I mean, we're talking about, you've been saying we're being reactive, missing signals, being stretched too thin. And it sounds like, absolutely, I agree with you. There's a missing layer of intelligence that's basically, that's would be amazingly a good help in any of these spaces. So that's where AI agents most probably will come in, and this is a space that's going to be reimagined. So if I could conclude something about this conversation, I would just say that the space is not broken. It's just, I mean, it's outgrown its shape. That's mostly that customer success basically needs a huge reinvention and the eyes of technology in a different way completely, and it will stop being reactive, and it will be proactive. It will have technology just hyper personalizing in each specific customer, so that we can know prior to what they are going to do, what's going to happen, so we can prepare everything. So I don't know if you agree with that early conclusion to our conversation.
I would. I think broken is probably a little bit of an exaggeration, knowing that, the basis of customer success is strong, which is, and always the intent is there, meaning we want to make sure customers are seeing value. The way that it's been structured has gotten very broad, and as I mentioned earlier, the definition of what the role is has varied company to company. And so having the opportunity to bring it back to what do customers want to see, how are they trying to be engaged with, and can CSMs adopt new technologies to do that? That's very exciting. And so I think all of that together, combined with the AI tools that you were describing, there is a beautiful future, I think, for all of us to be able to be more proactive, see these signals early, which, by the way, are customer success by design, how to describe it, a lot of leading lagging indicators. And the lagging indicators, which we're typically measured on, increased revenue retention and net revenue retention. But those are, those are quarters later, after decisions are made by users and decision makers earlier on. And so if we can get to those conversations earlier and be really transparent around, here is what our data is telling us that other similar customers to you are experiencing. These are the ones that are most successful. I want to bring that to you as a best practice to say, how do you compare to our best fit customers? And have an honest conversation about that, and open up the opportunity to ask difficult questions and hear difficult answers early on in the. So all of this leading data and these leading indicators are able to be discussed nice and early, and everybody's feeling good about it.
Amazing. So if we could like get to wrap the process up and to the Fireside chat up, how let's see if we can say in 1 minute what? I mean, there's people gonna be saying this, that they basically don't know where to go. They know about AI, they know about all of these things. They feel overwhelmed. They feel they have to do something. What would, let's do it in a short conversation. I mean, each one of you could say what they could do, what's the first step they could do, and how they could accomplish this part. I don't know. What would you say? Johan, if you want to start with this.
Sure. We were talking about ensuring that we deliver value, and we're talking about how AI can enhance and be a multiplier, right? The number one thing is, and Brian, you talked about data. It's ensure that you have structured data and don't have it fragmented over, 25 systems, because then AI won't be able to help you to hyper personalize this. So that would be a step one. You have a structured data, and then AI will help you, create those hyper personalized communications. And also, what I would say is ensure that you understand what success looks like for your customers. Identify the success leading indicators, Brian, as you mentioned, across segments, align with the customer goals and objectives, and then build your journeys based on the success leading indicators, and make sure that you have checkpoints of adoptions. Don't wait until the customer reacts and calls you and tells you that they're not renewing. Make sure that you use these signals so that you can proactively engage with the customer, and use AI with this data that is structured to help you create this personalized engagement with the customers. So, if I can wrap it up, this is kind of in a very, very clear way. But, one more thing that I would add to this is that I feel that cross-functional alignment is also very, very important in this, talking about customer success. We focus on customer success, but there are other teams cross-functionally around the organization that really needs to be aligned. And one of the things that have worked best for me is reframing what I call customer experience as shared outcomes with role-specific impact. Meaning, instead of saying that everyone owns CX, we clarify how each team contributes to these results. From product, sales, marketing, engineering, support, and CS.
Great. So, Brian, can you give us some wrap-up comments about this?
Yeah. I think I double the comment about data. I think starting small and simple is a great way to go. Meaning, let's go back to the framework I was discussing: outcomes, value, expectations. Start there. If you can quantify how many customers you know their outcomes, how many customers you know that are measuring value in a very specific way, and how many customers we're meeting their expectations, that's a great starting point. That data can be overlaid with adoption data and financial data to be able to identify who are our best fit customers. Let's start there. Let's not only look at risk, let's look at who are our best fit customers, and then start to mirror that and how we can multiply that internally as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much, both of you, just to be with us today. It's been really educational. I know we could go on for hours, and we could also do another session of this, just more focus in the agentic part and how we could do, depending on what people would be interested in. But thank you very much. I'm pretty sure that most of if not all of the companies that are gonna see this, they're gonna have a lot of value out of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was great. Great fun.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Manrique. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.